G'day, I'm Mark from Self-Sufficient Me, and we're less than a month away from spring here in Australia, and most people, especially gardeners, are looking forward to the spring season, except I'm not. I prefer to grow in winter, and in this video I'm going to tell you why winter is the best time for growing veggies. Let's get into it. I bet you'd be surprised about how many people that live in warmer climates like temperate, subtropical, tropical, and still think that spring is the best time to grow their food crops. Anecdotally, over the years, my 20 plus years of gardening, I've spoken to a lot of people, and so many of them have told me about their spring planting plans, how they're looking forward to spring to plant their veggies. And then also the opposite. I've got comments from people saying, what are you doing growing beans through the middle of winter? I thought that was impossible and a no-no to grow beans out of season like that in such a cool time of year. You might think that I'm making something up out of nothing. But the truth is, if you look at the retail industry, the best time of year for selling gardening products is as Australia comes into spring. And it's most definitely the same in the US and Europe and other places around the world. Why? Because that is generally the best time, I suppose, for growing things, especially if you're in a really cold climate. But I'm going to show you and explain some plants that love the cold, that you might be surprised at how low they can go in coldness and frost before they won't grow anymore. In fact, this video might even change the way you think about your growing seasons and maybe help you to extend your growing season quite a bit more and get more out of your food harvest and your garden. So I think the best way for me to explain all this is to take a bit of a walk around the garden, one garden bed at a time, and I'll show you some plants that grow really well in the cold and others that I'm growing in the cold that actually don't like the cold very much. I'll give you a hint: potatoes, tomatoes. But I grow them anyway because there are other reasons, not just temperature, why growing them at this time of year, even though they suffer a bit, is a better way or a better time to grow them. In this Birdie's raised garden bed here, we've got at the front some peas that I'm struggling to get to train up that lean-to trellis. I'll have to bend them back and make sure that they train up there properly. Anyway, they're producing peas and they're growing very healthily. Then in front of those peas, there's some bok choy, which is an Asian green that does well even in the summertime. But I'm growing it in winter because it does particularly better through the winter. Then you've got some normal cabbage, and at the back here, we've got 2 rows of beautiful, healthy looking broccoli. Now, all of these plants in this bed that I've mentioned are fine to grow in cold conditions, providing they're not subjected to a heavy frost. They can tolerate light frosts, which is like -2 degrees and a light frosting. I mean, I wouldn't like to be out here in my undies when it's that cold. And it can get that cold here at times, but it's very rare that we see temperatures below 0 in our neck of the woods. In this next bed, it's pretty similar. These plants, again, are plants that can take a minor frost, a light frost, but not sustained heavy frost, except for one thing that's in this bed, and that's these leeks here. But there's only just a couple of leeks. They're nicely covered with a blanket of weeds at the moment. That could do with a little bit of weeding out. But regardless, leeks can withstand really harsh frosts, up to -5 degrees. So these are an excellent crop to plant, say, in autumn in a really cold climate, or pretty much all through winter in a warm climate. But at the front, we've got celery. These celery need to be tied up because They're growing so well, they're starting to spread out. And as you know, most people like their celery in a nice upright bunch. I do too. And you can do that by training it rather than letting it grow out like it is now and then tying it up. You can even blanch celery to make the stalks white and a little bit sweeter. And then on my left here, we've got Chinese cabbage or wombok, which is growing especially well next to some bok choy again that was left over that I spread out between these two beds. And on the right side here, I've got a few tomato plants and a couple of banana capsicum. Now, my whole intent when I planted these banana capsicum was to cover them with a little mini plastic hothouse, just to give them a little bit of extra heat, because this is one thing here in this bed that I'm growing over winter that does not handle the cold well at all and gets all sorts of leaf diseases and stunted growth because of it. The reason why I like trying to grow capsicum, and in particular this variety, is because sometimes you can get a nice mild winter and it does grow okay in the garden. But if you do give it a bit of extra help, like some coverings to help it from the cold and a good mulching around the root zone, you can get some good crops off it. The problem we have with growing capsicum at the right time of year here is the fruit fly. We have two types of fruit fly, a Mediterranean fruit fly and a Queensland native fruit fly. These aren't the little fruit flies you get like the vinegar flies in your kitchen. These are more like mini wasps that come and sting the fruit, and anything that has a thick wall on it, like any fruit like a capsicum or a nice big tomato, the fruit fly will sting. They'll lay an egg in that fruit and then a maggot will hatch out and it'll turn the guts of that fruit into a awful, stinky, mushy mess, which is a real shame. But the good news is you do get relief from the fruit fly through our winter time. When it cools down, the fruit fly go mostly dormant, although you do see a few around. They're not that active, and you can get away with growing these fleshier and softer skin type vegetable fruits, or fruitables as I like to call them, out in your garden at this time of year. And that's why I always try to grow these types of capsicum out of season. Coming down to this third bed, again a fairly similar mix, some more broccoli, some more cabbage, all good. And then in front of me here, I've got potatoes. Now, potatoes is a risky crop to grow if you're going to get any type of frost. Thankfully, frosts are fairly rare, and the risk then is pretty low in our part of the world. But the reason I like growing potatoes through the cooler parts and then into spring is because they really love growing in cooler weather in a warmer subtropical type climate. There are much less pests. One of the main pests that attack potatoes here are the 28 or 26 spotted lady beetle. That is the only lady beetle that is a pest. I mean, when I first saw them all over some potato plants, and I thought, oh, how nice. These little fellas have swarmed in and are eating all the nasties, they're eating all the aphids. I'm blessed to have such an insect come into my garden. So I've left them, and pretty much overnight I came back and there was hardly any potato plants left. They'd eaten them all through. What they do is the adults feast on the plants and then they lay their eggs, and the nymph that hatches out really smashes through and has a voracious appetite for potato leaves. So I learnt pretty quickly that not all lady beetles are pretty and nice, but that pest is pretty much extinct when it comes to the cooler months, and you only start seeing them in spring. And then to the right here, this is another really surprising crop that shocked me, because I always grew this herb in the spring and summertime pretty much out of ignorance. This is coriander, and I always expected that coriander would be grown in a warm climate, in warm conditions, because I associate coriander with Mexico. Mexico, dusty, warm, hot. Same with Thailand and Asian countries, subtropical, tropical type countries. So I always expected this as a food would be grown in warm conditions. And it was only by sheer frustration that I realised, and trial and error, that I realised that this loves cooler conditions. I only ever grow this through winter now, and yes, into spring, but as soon as the temperature gets around 22, 23 degrees and higher, coriander starts to suffer, bolts, goes to seed, and you don't get those good long runs of lush, beautiful, slow growing, plump, parsley-like leaves that you can use in cooking for that unique Thai or Mexican type flavours. And then in front of the coriander here, here's another really good, very cold tolerant and -5 harsh frost plants. This is daikon radish or Japanese radish. Some people say winter radishes, but most radishes will grow very well in the cold. They also grow super duper fast. So if you want something quick, say if you are in a cold climate that gets so cold you get snow and that type of thing, this could be one of those crops you plant very late and still be able to harvest something that can sit in your crisper for months on end and be preserved without even having to try too much or even try any other type of preserving methods except for just keeping it, growing fast and harvesting it before your first snow. Now behind me here, I'm resting this garden bed over winter, but that didn't stop several plants from coming up. This garlic here came up by itself. This potato plant came up by itself, so I just had to let it go. The rest of the bed I'm just using really as a storage area. I've got some garlic here that I failed to plant in time. I still don't know what I'm going to do with it. I probably should have processed it all and saved it. I might try and experiment on seeing how I can maybe, I don't know, save a crop of garlic if I can find the space to put it in. But garlic is one of those crops when you really have to grow through our winter time, because if you don't, it just simply gets too hot for it through our spring and summer. It matures usually in spring, early spring, but here in our subtropical climate, if you don't have your garlic in by the last month of autumn coming into winter, it's really too late because of the longer growing season and the temperature. So this is a crop that is mandatory through our winter. Anyway, what I wanted to say about this garden bed here is it's different from the ones in front. That's because it's a bit longer and it's a bit thinner. This particular garden bed is on sale at the moment, 2-for-1 deal from Birdie's Garden Beds online. They're made in Australia. They're made on the Gold Coast here. And this deal is only for Australians only. If you follow my links and codes, you can get 5% discount on any of those garden beds that you buy. The 244 centimetre and 122 wide beds, which this is just about it. This bed here is actually a 2500, so it's a little bit longer by about 6 centimeters, but you get the idea. Pretty much this shaped bed you can get 2-for-1, and it's only for this next month. It's a lead up to spring sale, and I think it's a pretty good deal. And in this last bed here, I've got a combination of a tomato plant here. This is a beefsteak variety that, as you can see, is growing very well. I'm going to just let it sprawl over to the right side over this trellis. Tomatoes are another crop that I've already mentioned that grow particularly well through our winter time, and it's mainly because of those fruit fly problems. But there's another reason, and that is the disease. At the end of the day, a healthy tomato plant means healthy, big, bright, beautiful, tasty fruit. And so if your tomato plant is suffering because of disease and it's hard to grow, it's getting intermittent water, or it's really hot, which tends to happen in a subtropical climate or a tropical climate, or even like temperate climates when you're going through a drought. Irregular water is the killer of tomato plants. Too much water and too much dampness is another thing that can be a problem. So in the tropics, if it's raining too much through the summer and it's too hot, breeds diseases, the plants don't go too good. It's a similar thing here in the subtropics. The reason why tomatoes grow so well, besides the fruit fly thing, because fruit fly will just, like I said, turn that fruit to mush anyway, even if it grows great. We have a fairly dry winter leading into spring, and that is perfect for tomato plants. Yes, they grow a little slower because the weather's cooler, and no, you don't want a harsh frost, so you got to keep your fingers crossed to make sure that doesn't happen, but it rarely does. But apart from that, the dryness, and you can control the water, and the lack of humidity gives those tomato plants the perfect growing environment to grow good and healthy, and thus grow really nice fruit. And it's the same here with these potatoes. As you can see how big and healthy they are, underneath it's going to be growing a heap of good tubers because the top plant isn't getting disrupted, like I said, by nasty lady beetles, other insects and leaf diseases. At the bottom of the trellis here, I've got some beetle leaf. Beetle leaf grows all year round in the subtropics, but it hardly grows at all through winter. It suffers terribly. It's more of a subtropical tropical plant, and that will come back nicely as the weather warms up in spring. But you know, it's a leaf, and it does tolerate and like the warm weather, and it doesn't have many predatory insects on it or diseases. So that's not something that I can be particularly concerned about at all. And I don't mind that staying in the garden and going dormant or suffering a bit, because I know it's going to come back tenfold once the weather warms up. Now, other crops that are good for a moderate frost to say -2 degrees are cauliflower, beetroot, silver beet and Swiss chard. Lettuce, I didn't really talk about lettuce much, but especially the iceberg and the hearting varieties of lettuce, or the cos lettuces, they don't mind a little bit of frost and some colder weather. In fact, you really can't grow iceberg lettuce here through spring, summer. It has to be in the middle of winter to get the best lettuce heads possible. Rocket, mustard greens, you probably saw a whole bunch of Japanese red mustard that just came up by itself around that first garden bed that I showed you guys. Mustard, it'll come up when it knows its best conditions are for growing. You know, years ago when I first started gardening, I would have expected that to plant mustard at springtime into summer. But the thing is, after years and years of growing it, I realised that it would bolt to seed very quickly, even though it would tolerate those conditions later in the year and through the hotter times. Its best growing times is through the middle of winter, and that's evident by when it loves to come up itself. And for the very frost tolerant greens, you can't go past kale. I say hail the kale because it really does tolerate even snow. I've seen pictures of it growing in the snow and it boggles my mind. Collard greens, Brussels sprouts, which is something that I'm not fond of and probably would never grow, and it's a long growing season. If you like your Brussels sprouts, go for it. It's a really great winter's crop. Spinach, carrots. Now, carrots surprise me that they are so cold tolerant, but the thing that I have noticed with carrots is that they're very slow growing through winter, and that's why I really haven't got them in the garden at the moment. They are better here where we are to grow them at the end of winter into spring, even though they are very cold tolerant type of crop. It's just that they grow so slow. That's the only thing that I've seen. But hey, other people might have other experiences and love to grow them through the middle of winter. I certainly have before. Parsnips, which is a, you know, kind of carrot slash parsley anyway. Other root crops like turnips and swades. I've already talked about radishes, garlic of course, broad beans, which is another one that I'm not that fond of, but you might love broad beans. The last one is spring onions. Spring onions are surprisingly good through winter, not just spring. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a big wintry thumbs up, share it around and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye for now. Cheers.